The king is hailed as a hero by the poor people of the kingdom for his reforms that improve their lives. What they don't know is that the king hates poor people above all else, how they look, how they smell, everything. To him, the reforms are simply a way to have fewer poor people. The king stood on his balcony, like he did every morning. The jewels and gold that coated him, glistening in the sun's glorious light. He was a figure of God, a man blessed by the heavens. Luck didn't determine someone's birthright. No, you had to be chosen for the position. Men like him were the only ones worthy of being called king. Those heavy arms tucked behind his back, peering at the city below. A beautiful city he had created. Sure, workers had slaved away to make it, but they did so under his orders. If he hadn't given those orders, they would all be still drinking themselves stupid in taverns. He gave them a purpose, and what did they give him in return? A pitiful display of their mortality. Lower, outside the castle gates, stood a broken family. A dear and loved mother lowered into the ground, returned to the goddess's embrace. By the grave kneeled two children, both adults, but still children in the eyes of their recently lost mother. The elderly father clutched his children's shoulders, trying to be a symbol of strength, even when his soul had broken upon finding her cold in the morning. As they grieved, all the king could do was grimace. Disgusting. He told his guard, who jolted upright, not even being aware of the display. The guard turned, feeling a stabbing in his heart as he saw the family. A funeral, a human sight, one that often stirs memories buried deep in our minds. He thought of his own mother, biting his lip, not daring to make even a sniff before the king. The king gripped the elegant purple railing, peering down at the group. I give them everything and they can't even have the decency to die away from my sight. Even a cockroach finds a corner to scurry to before rolling onto its back. Yes, sir, was all the guard said, looking now at his greaves. He couldn't bear the grieving family, the sight too sad to look at. So, he kept his gaze elsewhere. While the king's words were horrible, one couldn't deny the impact he had made on the peasants' lives. Slowly, people were leaving the slums, able to afford a living thanks to the tax reforms. Poverty being slowly reduced, all thanks to a man who was disgusted by the very thought of their existence. Despite his personality and reasoning, he was a great king. Look at them, wailing because the person who birthed them died. How many children are born a day? It's hardly anything special. The king met the gaze of the father, who looked stunned to see the king of all men looking over their funeral. The father couldn't help feeling a great deal of comfort after seeing the king, feeling blessed that the man was watching over them, almost protectively. I would call them animals, if animals weren't more important. You can get meat, hide and other miraculous things from animals. What do you get from a peasant human? A bunch of bones that stink up a holy cemetery. Ugh, the thought of sharing the same ground as them turns my stomach. I must go inside or else I'll be unable to eat my breakfast. The father tapped his children, the two stopping their grieving, watching in awe as they saw the king tuck his chin towards his neck in a look that could be interpreted as grief. The king raising his shoulders as he took a deep breath, hurrying inside, unable to keep his disgust hidden any longer. Though, to the grieving peasants, they thought they saw a shared grief. A man that loves his people so much that he cries with them. That moving even the father to tears, as he hugged his children, praying not only to the goddess but also to the king. Asking them both to grant the special woman in their life a safe passage into the afterlife. Hendrik. The king snapped, in a tone that Hendrik had come to recognize. The tone said, I'm about to give you an important order, so listen up. Hendrik's body stopped. Even his breathing softened as he waited on the king's words. Sir. You go down there and tell those peasants that they can drag their dead hag out of my ground. We are building them their own cemetery, one away from my gaze. They can go leer at their dead away from my sight. Is that understood? Once you tell them, have the men work on it at once. I don't want to see a sight like this again. Yes, sir. Hendrik nodded, rushing to meet the peasants, not wanting to miss them. When he arrived, he told them a very simple version of the king's orders. Leaving out the part about the dead hag and such. In the knight's words, they were building a special cemetery, one that would be easy for them to access without having to make the trip close to the castle grounds. The family was stunned. Not only had the king shared their grief, he had been so moved that he now wanted them to be closer to their dead. They had heard such horrible rumors about the king, being told by others that he was a man who hated the common person, despised them even. Yet, all he had ever done was help them. Guilt washed over them. To think they had ever let themselves believe such lies about the man. They wailed in thanks, raising their hands towards the castle, while the knight remained silent, watching the gesture, wondering how they would feel if they knew the truth. As the king went to put a piece of bacon into his mouth, he paused, lowering his golden fork. What is that awful sound? He hissed. Every day I'm forced to listen to their stupid wails. I can't wait until they're all gone. One day, you won't be able to distinguish a peasant from a common man. I dream of such a day. He smiled, continuing his meal.